There's nothing quite like when you first sit down at the table and prep yourself to build for the day. It's that quiet, special alone time where you get to map out your strategy and create something in the world that you want to be part of. We all use mostly the same tools: X-Acto knives, glue, sandpaper, etc. But as you play with each part and sand it down and make sure the fit's right, do your prep work, in your mind, you've already got an idea where you're going with it. This is your chance to create something that's to your liking. You make it the way you want it to be. Perhaps you're trying to repeat a piece of history or come up with something entirely new. Sometimes the old kits bring back that delicate but powerful hint of nostalgia. And sometimes they're just aggravating old pieces that don't fit that well. Whatever the case, you do this because of a creative spirit, something that's hard to put into words, almost more like a drive. Some of the things we do are just wash, rinse, repeat. Clean the part, fit the part, add the glue, press the parts together, and get them to bond. And sometimes it's a little more than that because they don't always want to bond. You have to get a little inventive sometimes, come up with new ways to make things happen. And that's all part of the fun and part of the challenge. When pieces do go together easily, it's a happy surprise. And when they don't, well, sometimes you have to get a little bit inventive. But invention's part of the process. Once in a while, you come up with your own great idea how you're going to do something different than what's on the instruction sheet. And sometimes it pays off. But then there's always that time when you start applying the glue, and just about the time you mate the parts and it's getting ready to harden, you realize it may be something that you overlooked. And while the glue rapidly dries, you go into sort of minor crisis management mode, trying to not undo the work you just did, but find something like that piece of flash that you missed and still make your plan work. And of course, always careful to cut away from yourself so you don't cut yourself. But in the end, even if a kit draws a little blood, you wind up making it all work. A little sanding here, a little buffing there, a little trimming around, and you get it together. Some kits are cantankerous and some aren't, but it's all part of the surprise. You never really know what's waiting on you in a box of styrene. Sometimes you try a really spiffy glue that worked well on another model, but doesn't work so well on this one. If you have your parts all laid out, they go together pretty easily, all cleaned and prepped and ready to go. And then, of course, they find a way to not quite fit the way they should. Again, just all part of this great Styrene River's plan to keep you on your feet. But eventually it starts to take shape. And as it does, you realize that, you know what? Maybe the old thick glue's better than the new thin glue, or maybe the thin glue's better than the thick glue. Whatever the case may be, every time you build a kit, you're learning something new. And of course, you come up with your own game plan on how you want to do certain things because, well, instruction sheets are more like suggestions. And the odd rubber band here, clamp there, or tape over there helps hold things in place. Sometimes helps hold them down altogether. It can be a little bit of a cat rodeo to try and get all the pieces to fit. Of course, you can't adjust them one at a time, wait for the glue to bond, but if you do that and it's a little out of alignment, well, then you got an issue. So you try to put as much as you can together at one time to ensure a fit and anchor it down. One thing is for certain, no two kits are alike, even two kits of the same thing. There's going to be some kind of difference you didn't expect, and it's going to keep you honest. One thing's for certain, when you do look at things like the rigging of a subject, you figure, I think I can do better than that, and oftentimes you can. So you come up with your own plan. And once again, nothing is quite as easy as you thought it was going to be. Every effort to make things a little bit simpler, like using easy line instead of string, winds up to have its own little bugaboos. But in the end, you make it work because you're a glue trooper. It's what you do. And you play with different ways to do things, and you come up with something that you know when it's done it's going to be okay, provided those wires don't snap. So that's where we're at with this old Strombecker, now Glencoe space station thus far. Having fun. Guys, take care of yourselves. We'll see you at the live stream. And as always, model on.